Yeah, the Miracle Morning came about really organically. It was never an idea for a book. It was never an idea for a movement, for sure. That was not even a word in my vocabulary. It happened when I hit rock bottom in 2008 when the economy crashed. I crashed with it, and I went from having bought my first new house and started a new business that was doing really well to feeling overnight. It felt like it was overnight, but it was probably a 6-month kind of downward spiral where lost over half of my income, couldn't pay my bills, couldn't pay my mortgage, body fat percentage tripled. It was really this physical, mental, and emotional, the lowest point in my life. I got deeply depressed, and what turned it around was advice from my friend John Berghoff. He said, you need to go for a run every morning and put yourself in a peak physical, mental, and emotional state. And while you're in that state and on that run, listen to a self-help audio, a business audio book, something relevant to whatever area of your life you want to improve the most at that time. And I hated running, and I was resistant. But he goes, what do you hate worse, running or your life right now that you just told me about? And I was like, all right, okay, yeah, I'll go for a run. And I went for a run the next day, and I heard a quote from Jim Rohn. He said, your level of success will seldom exceed your level of personal development. And that led me to realize that I needed to wake up early every morning. Not even early, just earlier. Instead of waiting till the last minute, hitting the snooze button, I needed to wake up a little bit earlier, 30 to 60 minutes, and dedicate that time to, as Jim Rohn addressed, my personal development, so I could learn and become the person that I needed to be to create the success I wanted in my life. And to keep a long story short, I was thinking 6 to 12 months of this daily ritual could shape who I was to improve my life. It was less than 2 months. I more than doubled my income, went from being in the worst shape of my life physically to committing to run a 52-mile ultra marathon. When I wasn't a runner, I hated running, but I thought just through the confidence I was gaining in the morning, I thought I can do anything. And my depression went away the very first day, because immediately that first day I went, if I do this every single day, it's only a matter of time. If I start every day with the Miracle Morning, now to be clear, it wasn't called the Miracle Morning back then, there was no name. If I start every day though with this morning ritual, it's only a matter of time before I become the person that I need to be to turn my life around and create everything I've ever wanted for myself. And within 2 months, it did it so fast, I felt like a miracle. I started calling it my Miracle Morning, and the rest is history, as they say. I mean, the biggest challenge I faced, the initial one, when I was 20 years old, I was driving home from giving a speech, and my car was hit head-on by a drunk driver at 70 miles an hour. And the worst was yet to come. Actually, I spun off the drunk driver, and the car behind me that was trailing just like 3 car lengths behind me at 70 miles an hour, my car spun in front of that car. That car crashed into my door at 70 miles an hour and crushed the left side of my body. I broke 11 bones instantly. And I bled to death. I was clinically dead for 6 minutes, in a coma for 6 days, flatlined twice more in the coma, and was told I would never walk again. When I came out of the coma 6 days later, they said I would never walk again. I had all these broken bones. I had brain damage that was pretty significant. I had no short-term memory, and I had to decide, like when we face any adversity, this was a big one for me, but how am I going to respond? And I decided, you know what, I can't change that I was in a car accident, but I can choose to be the most grateful, positive, proactive I've ever been in my life. And if there's any time to do that and dig deep, shit's now, And so I did that, and within 3 weeks of the crash, the doctors came in with routine x-rays. They said, we don't know how to explain this, but your body's healing so quickly, we're going to let you take your first step tomorrow. Now, even me being optimistic, I was thinking this would be a year of healing before I would even consider walking again. It was 3 weeks later that I was rolled in my wheelchair by my therapist, physical therapist, into the therapy room, and with parallel bars, and stood up and took a few painful steps. And then 4 weeks after that, after walking every day, and I went from taking a few steps to walking 10 yards to walking up and down stairs to the doctors releasing me into my parents' care at 20 years old, back home from the hospital. And the rest, once again, is kind of history. I decided that if I could overcome that, I could overcome anything. And I did have a sense of responsibility in the hospital to share that. The lessons that I had learned through overcoming this, what would have been a horrific tragedy, and really seeing what I could be grateful for and the positive in it, in a way that the doctors thought was not normal. They thought I was in denial because I was so happy. But it was genuine because I accepted what I couldn't change, so I gave myself permission to be happy for what I had. And by doing that, I thought, I've got to share this with the world, and that was when my mission in life kind of became, how can I help other people, do what I've done or greater, and that's ever since it's been 16, 17 years since that car accident, and the Miracle Morning was in the middle of that. And that the through line is kind of my purpose in life that drives me, which is to selflessly add value to the lives of every person that I come in contact with, and that way it's universal. So some days that might just mean being nice and listening to somebody that's having a bad day. Some days it's giving a speech or sharing my book. And some days it's playing with my kids, because that's what adds value for them that day. So just that purpose of selflessly adding value, meaning selflessly in that, not that I'm altruistic, I have my own goals and desires and selfish wants and dreams, but I want the purpose to be pure, so that I am selflessly adding value, meaning I'm not adding value when it's convenient for me only, or I'm in the mood for it, or I have the energy. If somebody needs me, or I think I could help them or serve them, and I don't feel like it, I'm in a bad mood, the energy, I try to put myself aside and go, it's not about me. How can I serve them? What do I need to do to muster up the energy, shift my attitude, whatever I've got to do to be of service to my family, my friends, my clients, my humanity as a whole. And so the most valuable lesson I've learned, and there's two. I've got to I have to narrow it down to two. And the first one is that every negative emotion that we've ever felt is self-created, and that we have control. If we are aware of that and understand how to overcome negative emotions, which you don't really overcome them, you just allow them to pass, and it's through the power of acceptance. I implemented this during the car accident, but it was when I read the book The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, where he explains that all negative emotions are self-created by our non-acceptance of whatever it is that we think is causing the negative emotion. So whether it's sadness or anger or fear or regret or any negative emotion, frustration, once we choose to accept it, and the way that I do that is through two things: the 5-minute rule, which is give myself 5 minutes to feel upset, and then after the 5 minutes, I literally set the timer on my phone for 5 minutes. 5 minutes to bitch, moan, complain, cry, whatever. After 5 minutes is up, I take a deep breath and I say 3 really powerful words, which are, can't change it. And that doesn't mean I can't change the future. It means I can't change what already happened. Can't change the past. Therefore, as an intelligent human being, once you realize that we create our own negative emotions because we wish that things were different than they are, we wish and want them to be different. Once we choose to accept all things that we can't change, whether it's the traffic that we're sitting in or the loss of a loved one, we accept it, we find peace within. And when we're at peace, we truly have space to be happy or choose to be grateful or fulfilled. But if we resist, if we're not willing to accept it, and we blame the thing, well, of course I'm angry. Look at what happened. Look at what he did. Look at what she did. Look at what was said. Look at what was lost. And we think that it's something outside of ourselves that's causing us emotional pain, we're powerless. And our emotions control us. Versus when you accept what you can't change, you find a state of peace. Doesn't mean you're happy. You might be upset. You might not be happy that this thing happened, because it might not be what you wanted. But happiness is an emotion over here. Sadness is over here. We've all been there where you're happy 1 minute, a phone call changes that, now you're upset. But when you live in peace, it's kind of like there's happiness and sadness, or positive and negative emotion, and in the middle, there's peace. And you achieve peace through acceptance. And when you're at peace, it's this rooted, ever-present, unwavering state of being that allows you to be free from emotional pain. And then you can choose the emotion that best serves you or the situation, and then you can apply it. So for example, if my wife gets accosted, I'm not an angry person. If she gets accosted though, and there's a man right there that's accosting her, anger might be the right emotion to use in that situation. So I'll pull out anger and I'll get fired up, I'll get angry. As soon as the situation is diffused, I won't carry the anger with me. I'll accept it, can't change what has happened. Then I'll look at my wife and I'll think, what emotion does she need from me right now? Or what emotional state do I need to be in to best serve her? And then only through acceptance do I have the space and the freedom to choose the emotions that I'm going to experience. And then maybe I'll be able to get down with her, or grieve, or love, or comfort, or whatever it is. And the same applies to my kids. The same applies to every situation, every day. So I guess we can leave it at that. That's the one. The other one is the miracle morning. I mean, it is the idea. So the quick answer on the second key, and it is a shorter answer, doesn't require as much explanation, because that's more of a complex topic. It's just the idea that we've got to dedicate time every day to our personal development, because who we become is far more important than what we do, yet it's what we do that determines who we become. So by dedicating time every day, ideally in the morning, to learn and grow and develop your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual capacities beyond where they've been, in order to achieve what we would call level 10 success. We're on a scale of 1 to 10, we want level 10 in every area. health, fitness, happiness, relationships, we've got to become a level 10 person. The way to do that is through personal development each day, to develop yourself from wherever you are in each area. Every area is different, You might be financially, you might be at a level 10, right? And then in your relationship, maybe you're at a 2, or maybe it's the opposite. But each day, developing yourself in the areas that matter most so you can become the person that you need to be to create the most extraordinary life that you can imagine. It doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen quickly when you focus on who you're becoming rather than just what you're doing. And that is the one thing, is that we have a limiting belief that says, I'm not a morning person. I had that limiting belief for many years. And when I wrote The Miracle Morning, my biggest fear was that's such a strong limiting belief people have had their entire lives since they were little kids. I don't know that, who am I to help them overcome it? And that's when the most amazing thing is the Miracle Morning community, surveying them, 72% said that they were never in their entire lives a morning person until they started doing the Miracle Morning. And then it freed them up to realize that, wait, I can choose to wake up in the morning and I don't have to resist. It's a mindset shift from like, oh, waking up's a bad, think about how crazy that is. Alarm clock goes off and you're like, oh, no, I don't want to, you hit the snooze button. It's literally resisting life itself. You're like, I know I say I want an amazing life, but not as much as I want to lay here unconscious for 9 more minutes, right? It's crazy when you think about it. And I think when the alarm goes off, that's life's first gift. It's also life's first opportunity, but it's also life's first challenge. And to take advantage of any amazing opportunity or really take advantage of any amazing gifts, we've got to overcome the challenges that are in between. And when you move the alarm clock across the room, you decide, I'm getting up not because I have to be up a little bit earlier. I want to because I want to dedicate time to my personal development so that I can become the person that I need to be to create the life that I want, and also become the person that I need to be, that my kids deserve, that my spouse deserves, that the people that I love, the people that I lead, every human being I ever touch, they deserve a level 10 me. But that doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't happen by just doing the same thing every single day. It happens by doing something different, being different, so that we can create a different life. Being better as human beings, better version of ourselves, so that we can create the life that we really want and that we want for the people around us. There's not a single mentor that has been my biggest influence. I guess I can attribute a couple. My family, my mom and dad specifically, they were a huge influence on me. They were very positive people. They were entrepreneurs at a young age. They encouraged me to start my own business when I was 15 as a mobile disc jockey. And so that they really shaped a lot of my ambition and the idea that you don't have to just follow the path of everybody else. You can kind of carve your own path. And then also overcoming adversity. When I was 8 years old, my sister died. She was 1.5 years, and I woke up one morning at 8 years old. It was me and my mom and my baby sister at home. My dad was at work. My sister was at a friend's house. I woke up to my mother screaming, "Oh, my baby, my baby, my baby." And as in a fog waking up, I thought, oh, she's playing with Amory, my sister Amory. She's playing with her. And then I quickly realized they were horrific. The tone of my mom's voice was horrific. It was terrified. I ran across the hall. My sister was dead in her arms at 1.5 years. And within, obviously it was the most difficult time in my parents' lives, maybe next to seeing me in my car accident, I don't know. But at that time, losing your youngest child, it was just terrible. And my parents grieved, and there was a lot of crying. But within a matter of months, I think it was about 6 months, my mother founded a support group for parents that had lost children, whose children had died. And even though I wasn't aware that this happened until much later in life after my car accident, when I reflected back on my life and I went, wow, that subconsciously made an impact on me to see that you can take an adversity and the way you turn it into an advantage is you accept it as quickly as is healthy for you, and then you focus on how you can use that adversity that you've overcome and you've dealt with in a positive way to help other people. And I was like, wow, mom and dad taught me I did that. That's what I did, and I really learned it from them. It also taught me as a parent that how we live our lives is always programming every other person that ever is a part of our life. The way we live our lives is unconsciously giving them permission to do the exact same thing. And I think that's a responsibility and a power that we can never take lightly. And I think that's why we owe it to the people around us to live to our full potential so that we can give them permission unconsciously to do the same and give them the inspiration and the belief that it is possible for them. The next biggest influence on my life was my mentor, Jesse. When I was 19 years old, I started a career in sales. He was my manager. Luckily, he was the #1 manager in the country, so he was, he had the right mindset. And he saw in me that I could break the all-time company record, that my first 10 days in Cutco, it was a 50-year-old company, 49 years at the time, that he thought, Hal, you could break the record. And at that time in my life, 19, I was a mediocre student. I didn't get good grades. I wasn't an athlete. I wasn't popular. Like, I had never achieved anything at a high level. And Jesse saw in me something that I didn't see in myself. And I mean, that's the importance of having a mentor. He mentored me. I talked to him during those 10 days. My first day, I went 0 for 3, sold nothing, called him to quit. Called him with my tail between my legs, humiliated because I had talked a big game. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to break the record. Jesse, I'm speechless right now. I sold nothing. I'm so sorry I let you down. I won't waste your time anymore. Oh, I'm done. And he said, Hal, there's one of 2 ways you can respond right now, buddy. He said, you can do what your emotions are telling you to do, which is give up. Is that what you feel? You feel like quitting right now, right? I said, yeah. I feel worse I've ever felt in my life. And he said, that's option 1. Option 2 is you can do the only thing that a successful person would do. And he said, Hal, I know the answer. This is rhetorical, but I'd like you to consider it and even answer it. Do you want to be a successful person in your life? Of course, I said, yeah, I do. And he said, a successful person would accept how the day went. They can't change it, right? I mean, I'm learning these things from him. And he said, and you realize that this is a numbers game. Life is a numbers game. Some days are terrible. Some days are amazing. Most days are just kind of somewhere in the middle, kind of average. Today was a bad day for you. Tomorrow might be an average day, might be another bad day, might be a great day. The great day is coming. Either whether it's tomorrow or the next day, it's right around the corner. But you won't know that unless you keep moving toward your goal. He said, if I were you, if you want to be successful, get on the phone, make the calls you were going to make, that you were planning on making before you went 0 for 3 today, and let's see what happens tomorrow. And the next day, I went 7 for 10. I sold $2,768. And 8 days after that, I broke the all-time 50-year-old company record. And I didn't do it with, I did 62 90-minute sales presentations in 10 days. If you do the math, that's, 9 hours a day of presentations plus drives, like 12-hour work days every day. Like I had the thing that we all have available to us, which is work ethic, moving forward, overcoming obstacles, right? And so that having a mentor is crucial. If it wasn't for Jesse, I would not have overcome that. I would have gone back to being mediocre like I had been my entire life, because sometimes we have to believe in the belief that someone else has in us until our belief catches up. And that's what happened for me with my mentor. And I think everyone needs a mentor if they want to fulfill their potential. So what's next for me is, it's not even about me anymore. The Miracle Morning started out as my morning ritual, decided to make it a book, and it has grown into this global movement that it's really elevating the consciousness of humanity one morning at a time. And we had an event a few months ago where we brought in 200 of the world's most dedicated Miracle Morning practitioners from around the world, and they came there not for what they could get out of the event. They came there knowing they were going to work and contribute, and the idea was, how do we change the world one miracle morning at a time? How can we literally, practically impact not millions, but billions of lives with the Miracle Morning? And then we were tapping into the collective genius of the community. It wasn't me saying, here's my vision. And that's the thing is, right, most CEOs, whatever, it's like their vision is their vision, and maybe it's shared with the executive board. But for us, we want our community. There's so much wisdom and brilliance in all of these people. How can we tap into the wisdom of 200 Miracle Morning practitioners versus 1? And the ideas they came up with blew my mind. They're talking about how we would end bullying, because they want to get Miracle Morning in every high school in America, in the world, every school in the world. They've said, how can you beat up the kid that you meditated with in the morning, that you heard his affirmations where he shared his deepest heart's desires with you and what he's struggling with and when he's being vulnerable, what he's working on? Yeah, you can't pick on that kid. And people talked about how it could end the divorce rate if we can get couples doing the Miracle Morning. These people in the room were saying, this saved our marriage. It saved our marriage. So as far as what's next with the Miracle Morning, it really is, it's continuing to tap into the wisdom of the community and to tap into the generosity of the community to actually, they're so passionate because of how the Miracle Morning has changed their life that they're committed to sharing it with other people. And that's how this movement is really spreading. We're now in 70 countries. It is translated into 24 languages. We're creating a documentary, the Miracle Morning Movie, where we're interviewing world-class, successful individuals about their morning rituals, from Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, to Robin Sharma, to Arianna Huffington, founder of Huffington Post, to Marcy Gray, John Gray, Women Are From Mars, Women Are from Mars, Men Are From Venus, all right, Marcy Shimoff, Happy for Marie, like all these brilliant people. But then we're going to everyday folks, and we're finding some amazing transformational stories from people who have, the business director of CNN lost his 4-month-old son, went into a deep depression, read every book on grieving that was given to him. None of them worked. Read the Miracle Morning. It got him out of his depression. He lost all the weight he had gained, followed a dream of starting a business. And so we're sharing his story as well as many others in the Miracle Morning film. So again, it's a loaded answer, but I mean, there's so many things going on within the movement, but the purpose is the same, is it's all around the question, how do we elevate the consciousness of humanity one miracle morning at a time? And I feel like and this is a lesson for all of us in life, is don't look for an answer, don't look for just a mission statement or a purpose. Always live by a question or questions. Because when you come with an answer and you live by the answer, you limit your creativity, you limit your resourcefulness. But instead of having an answer that you're focused on living by, have a question that you're focused on living by. How can I grow every day? How can I improve every day? How can I be a better leader, a better parent? How can I elevate the conscience of humanity? How can I serve? When we live by questions, we tap into our own wisdom and our own resourcefulness, and it can grow every day, and we'll tap in and attract new answers that we wouldn't find if we were just focused on an answer or a statement or a mission or a purpose. Frame it as a question so that we continue to grow and evolve and bring out the best in ourselves and the best of the people around us. So if you're a fitness professional, the answer I would give you on how to take your business to the next level is really the same as I would give any professional. And the idea is that if you want to take your business to the next level, you have to first take yourself to the next level. Now, what makes it different if you're a fitness professional is you filter success as a professional in your industry through your personal development. So I'd be reading books on building my business, right? Or books on how to be more effective in learning the latest cutting edge science around the practices that I'm teaching to my clients. Great book if you're a fitness professional is Book Yourself Solid by Michael Port. That's the book that I read that allowed me to go from losing half my coaching clients to more than doubling my coaching clients by having a simple system in place. NPE is obviously one of, if not the leading organization for fitness professionals to grow your business. So tap into the resources that MPE has available to you. Tap into the resources that Sean Greeley and his team are providing and that are proven, right? Look at the fitness professionals that MPE has already created amazing success for, or I should say, has empowered to create amazing success for themselves. Look no further than that, and you'll see that the answer, if you're watching this video, if you are familiar with MPE, if you're already a member, right, stay focused, stay committed, dive deeper into MPE and the personal development and the professional development that they provide and the resources that they provide, right? That's one mistake we make is we try to look everywhere. We spread our focus too thin when it comes to personal development. We become personal development junkies. We've all been there where you go to all these events, these seminars, you read all these books, you don't implement the books. You've got binders for more seminar. I've been there before. You have more binders on your shelf than you got room for. You've never looked at any of them again after you left the event. So pick one event. So for me, I chose one mastermind that is specific to my industry, and I committed to it for 3 years, right? And that's right now I'm in year 2, and this is the second. I did one for 3 years, moved on to another. So I committed to the highest level, and I'll say it, it's a $25,000 a year mastermind, which is out of my comfort zone, but I committed to it because I realized that if I only did it for 1 year, I'd just be scratching the surface. I'd be scratching the surface on what I was gaining from it, what I was learning, but also the relationships that I was developing. It takes time to build relationships. It takes time to really master knowledge. It's one thing to learn something. It's another thing to master it. And I think that's what MPE offers, is they offer so many resources, so much personal and professional development that you can go deep. And if you want to achieve amazing results, you've got to go deeper down one path focus on quality over quantity, and I think that's what MPE offers for all of its clients.